Leeds United are set to take on Leicester City tonight in what could be a must-win game that decides the general path of the Championship, whether or not Leicester City stay in reach of any other clubs, or if Leeds United's automatic promotion dreams could face a massive hurdle as they attempt to move forward throughout the season. In this video, I'm going to run through what you can expect to see from Leeds United, what you can expect to see from Leicester, and some of the selection issues they might come up against, and ultimately, what you should be looking for and what I predict to happen in the game. First up, we have to run through Leeds United and the potential injury concerns that Daniel Farke ran through in his press conference, and they were specifically about Crescencio Somerville, Joe Rodon, and Sam Byram. Three players that all came off in our most recent match against Huddersfield, and three players who had all had various injury difficulties or struggles in the past few weeks. Somerville, for example, has reportedly had a shoulder injury since the very start of the season. Sam Byram has, as we know, had long-term injury issues, and Joe Rodon, I think, got something like a knock in the Huddersfield match when he was making a last-ditch challenge to make sure that we were able to keep them without a goal at that point in the game. Thankfully, according to Daniel Farke, all are considered to be free and available, which means I think we'll expect to see all three of them start the match. In addition to that, and not a bad thing if Sam Byram isn't available, Junior Firpo is now available for selection. This match is the one that I would be least tempted to start him in, however, considering Leicester have a lot of attacking prowess about them and are able to break through defences with relative ease. That's not where you want Junior Firpo, because he's better on the attacking side of things rather than defensive side of things, and we sort of need to defend well against Leicester City. Ultimately, who starts for the match? I think Illan Meslier is unquestionable. He absolutely starts in goal. Jamie Shackleton, Joe Rodon, Pascal Struijk, and Sam Byram as a backline just makes sense to me, especially if Luke Ayling isn't necessarily at it. It's the defensive part of his game that isn't quite at it as well, so Shackleton and his incredible running is ideal there. In midfield, I've gone for Kamara and Ampadu because they were absolutely perfect against Huddersfield, didn't put a single foot wrong. And up top, similar reasoning. Dan James, Jorginho Rutter, Joel Piroux, and Crescencio Somerville in attack. I'll explain that more in detail further on in the video, but that is the front four that I've picked just because tactically it works for playing against Leicester. Then we've got to dive into Leicester's own selection issues because, as much as it feels like it, we're not the only club that have injuries. The biggest one they'll be dealing with is there is no Wilfred Ndidi. This season they've been using him as more of a number 8 rather than a defensive midfielder, and it's worked really effectively for them. He's been a very, very strong playmaker, creating lots of chances while still doing that defensive side of the game. Very, very thorough box-to-box midfielder, but he's not available for them, which gives us a little bit of an advantage over them, I think. Aside from that, there is a mostly fit squad. Dennis Pratt isn't available, but I don't think he's in their first team anyway. We're in a good position, I think, for a very, very interesting match between the two sides because in terms of injuries, no one is that far below their peak. With all this in mind, what is it that we should be looking for throughout this match? First of all, they have a tendency in their squad to attack down the left-hand side. I think it's Mavadidi that might play there. I'm not entirely sure on the name of their winger. I'm just going to very, very quickly bring that up, actually. But if you also consider the fact that Leeds United don't have a dedicated right back in that position at the moment, we've been bouncing between Archie Gray and Jamie Shackleton. That gives them even more of a reason to go at that. There's also Harry Winks on that side. It was Mavadidi. And I think the right-hand side of our defence is where they will target, especially if Rodon is injured, because him being out means that the defence as a whole will lose a lot of its structural integrity. It might be Cooper and Struijk, which would be a big problem. Hopefully Joe Rodon is back. Both sides also like to play as, and I think Daniel Farke phrased it, the protagonists in their games, which means that I think we'll see a massive battle for ball control. No one side will be happy to just stay off the ball and let the other team have possession and pass it around the back, because that's not how either of these teams have trained at any point in their long lifespan this season so far. It's been a matter of get the ball, play it around a bit, look for opportunities, and then play that nice little line-breaking pass that gives you an opportunity towards the end of the move. That means that both sides, I think, will do a lot of battling in the midfield, will press a fair bit, and although we're not the highest pressing side, it'd be daft to just let them have the ball in defence at the moment, considering that the moment the ball goes to Kiernan Dewsbury Hall or Harry Winks, that killer through ball is coming. And we don't necessarily have the pace in defence, with Sam Byron being potentially injured, to deal with it. In addition to that, you should look for Leeds United players targeting their older defenders with nice little tricky bits of footwork. Ricardo Pereira is not a young player anymore. I think he might be 30, 31 sort of age. Yannick Vestergaard is not a young player, and he's still their starting centre-back. We've had examples this season so far of Leicester losing goals and their clean sheets going away because a tricky winger has run at a relatively old defender and broken them down. And the fact that we'll have Dan James on the same side as Ricardo Pereira is fantastic for us, because I don't think he can deal with the Welshman's pace. And the fact that Vestergaard is playing as a centre-back, likely being faced off against Jorginho Rutter, he's going to rely a lot on positioning, because once Rutter gets going, Vestergaard doesn't have the pace to deal with it. And this poor defence on their side, well, not poor defence, obviously, they've got a very, very good defence, and this potentially exploitable defensive weakness on their side means that I don't see a clean sheet for either side in this match. I might have just cursed it, and that is not a good thing if I have. I can see it coming. I can see both sides having enough of an attack to break through their opposing defence at least once, probably several times. In order to stop that, what we need to do is we need to see if we can shut down Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Although I think, as Graham Smith said, he sounds like a National Trust location, Dewsbury Hall is such a creative player. He's firmly among the best 3 players in the entire division. That's not even close. Is he the best? Maybe. A willing discussion that I will probably not have right now, because I haven't really been following closely enough. But he's their main creator. He scored 5, he's assisted 5. That was before this weekend. I didn't see what happened in the match this weekend. I'll have a quick look against QPR. Quick check of the match report, just to make sure I actually know what I'm talking about, because I do not like to mislead. I always feel really, really bad when I do that by accident. Match center. He got another assist this weekend. Fantastic. We're in danger. Yeah, if we're able to shut down Dewsbury Hall, we will do pretty well. I feel like that might be Ethan Ampadu's job, but if we have Ampadu specifically doing that, do we weaken ourselves throughout the rest of the midfield? We'll find out. Furthermore, I can see both managers looking at potential tactical adjustments. The two sides face off against each other very similar, as teams that like to create opportunities and score goals whilst conceding as few chances as possible, which leads to fewer goals. Their goalkeeping has been better than ours this season. On a pure XG to goals conceded metric, their goalkeeping has been above ours, which means that I can see the odd tactical adjustment coming out of both sides as they look to gain an edge and find little gaps or bits of counterplay. If you think, okay, Leicester will target the right-hand side because of Jamie Shackleton, how do you work around that? And on Leicester's side, how do you work around our workaround? I think it's going to be one of the most cerebral matches that we've seen in the Championship for a while, because both managers are very intelligent people and know what they're looking for. Ultimately, time for some predictions. I have zero doubt that there will be plenty of chances. Both sides are incredibly creative, with fantastic passes of the ball, dribblers of the ball, and finishes. There will be lots of goals from transitional moments, because both teams have the coaching and the personnel in the back line to make sure they've got a strong defensive structure. And I think the goals are going to come when that defensive structure isn't quite there. When there's a quick transitional moment coming from a defensive corner, rushing into a counter-attack, or something end-to-end happening that breaks down the structure, because I think that's how we will get a lot of opportunities. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm going to let my optimist come out. I'm going to say that Leeds United will beat Leicester City 3-2. It doesn't need to be a must-win, but if we lose it, then the path to automatic promotion gets a lot more difficult. I think the Championship itself is probably already gone, because Leicester have just walked into the sunset. But that's not a guarantee, and I think if we win, we can unveil that nice little chink in their armour and hopefully build something from there. I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments down below. Like the video as well, subscribe. I will have a nice chat in the comments, and we'll try and work out our predictions, and hopefully we will all be right in a Leeds United win. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.